Hello, so I'm John Davis with Davis Business Coaching. I'm here with Scott Zanardo of Zanardo Architects. He's got an architect firm here in Lawrenceville, Georgia. So, Scott, if you could just introduce yourself, introduce your company to the people out there.
hmm Yeah, so I started my company in 1982, so we're going on quite a few years now of successful practice. And we have focused on medical, dental, surgery centers, that arena in the architectural world. So I have a little bit more education and accreditation based on, medical systems and how they work and knowing how the doctors work and knowing how the practices work and surgery centers and imaging centers. And so that's, I'd say 80% of our clientele are in the medical arena. The other 20% is probably retail, general office buildings, and we've gotten into designing studios, motion picture studios in the past year as well. So that's kind of added to our bag of tricks.
So are you designing? Well, let's talk about the size of the buildings. Is there a size of the buildings that you focus on?
Most of our buildings are in the 10 to 20,000 square foot range, but we've designed buildings 120,000 square feet.
Okay.
Big medical center in downtown Lawrenceville. There's a 3-story, 120,000 square foot medical building, but I would say the vast majority are in the 10, 20, 25,000 square foot range. That doesn't eliminate anything larger or smaller. It's just most of the buildings that we design are in that range.
And you're designing from before new construction?
New construction, we've also, in the past couple of years, we've done quite a few retrofits and renovations. The most populated areas, Lawrenceville, the Atlanta area, there's no vacant land, or it's hard to find vacant land. So people are buying buildings and we're repurposing them. We just finished a project in Duluth that used to be the old Tin Lizzy's or Loafing Leprechaun, and we're turning it into a Georgia prosthodontist building. And we basically had to take the building down to the steel, and then it reemerged from there. So we've been doing a lot of retrofit and repurposing lately.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you think about first off, where we are in Gwinnett County, like you said, being built out, and then with the infamous people pivoting and changing what they're doing, or just facilities going away, restaurants dropping out, that makes sense. It takes me back to, I'm trying to think of it passed right through my brain, like where you'll see like an old Kmart, right? That gets turned into something totally different, right? It gets turned into a trampoline building.
I just thought of that. When you said Kmart, I thought of trampoline immediately because you see a lot of those trampoline parks going in.
Oh, so it's interesting how that is. So as an architect, other than Seinfeld talking about it, and the people I went to school with, you get involved into the interior layout as well and the design and flow of the office, or is it much more structural and what you see from the street?
No, it's a whole vision. The way I like to explain is the architect is kind of like the orchestra leader. So we're directing the civil engineer for the site. We're directing the interior design. We have control over that. We bring in the structural, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineers to assist us in our design. But we start with the owners. We start with programming, getting to know what they need and how they need it. And then we design the building. And there's an old term by Frank Lloyd Wright that says form follows function. So we actually make sure the building exterior shell reflects on what's going on inside the building. So the spaces that are unique will have maybe a different feature and a different form than other spaces. So we design from soup to nuts, and then we can follow the project during construction when a general contractor is brought on board. We follow we're the eyes and ears of the owner during the construction process and answering any questions the contractor might have. And in these days of supply shortages, rest assured that about 10 or 15% of the products or systems we designed in the buildings, they can't get. And
Right.
so we have to find alternates to them. So,
Okay.
sorry.
And you're right. I mean, there's plenty of buildings. You drive past and you look at a building and you say, law office, doctor, like school. Like it is interesting. I don't think people realize those clues that they get to figure out what type of business is inside. That's my take as a novice. And then I assume you have to get into kind of the plan of the business, right? Are they always planning to be a 10-person employee dentist office, or do they have intentions of being, of growing that facility or having multiple facilities? I'm sure that's something that comes into your design process as well.
Right. So there's the practice plan, the business plan, and then the planning of the hard bricks and mortars. Those
Right.
are some of the questions and discoveries that we have to get into when we're doing the due diligence and the programming for these buildings with the owners to understand, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? Do we have enough building to accommodate that? Do we have enough land to accommodate an addition? Do we want to build the addition now and they lease it out until they need it? So there's different options, but we do need to know those questions. We have many clients who have multiple locations. And so we kind of know when they're looking for a new location, we know what the program is, between 5,000 and 7,000 square feet and how many exam rooms they need and things like that, so that we can help them evaluate what a building that they're looking at or a piece of property that they're looking at to make sure it has enough capacity for parking in addition to the building.
Okay. All right. That makes perfect sense. So, you talked about supply chain, right? And we kind of alluded to the pandemic and all that. I don't want to make it all about that, but a key thing for a business owner is change, recognizing the need to change and being able to make change based upon any of the things that have happened. Pandemic, supply chain, staffing shortages, fear of recession, who knows, whatever's going on in your personal life. So based upon what's happened in the last few years, did you have to make any significant changes to how your business works, your business plan, your interaction? What have you done to your business in the last few years that you didn't do 5 years ago?
Sure. Well, just like we're doing now, we never even used Zoom prior to the past two and a half years, but now we're using it quite often and learn how to use it so that we can even display our drawings on the computer and talk about space plan and drawings with our clients interactively, rather than they coming to our office or us having to go to their practice. Although I enjoy going to their practice because I could see their layout and the problems they're having and how we can fix that. But we're utilizing Zoom quite a bit more now. And we've learned how to be more flexible and understand that there may be systems, materials, options, equipment that we've specified in a building that we have to have backups to those systems, knowing that, well, maybe they can't get this one in time. Let's check, instead of X, let's check Y and Z suppliers or manufacturers or systems. And so we have to be flexible from that standpoint.
Right. So my background was commercial food equipment, and we had design consultants, right, who would specify the equipment that went into the kitchen, right? You had an architect did the building, had the kitchen. And along those lines, I know that it used to be they would specify a certain brand and a certain product. And it was not, in some cases, it was non-negotiable. That's what was going in. And sometimes they would give alternates. And I would think in the last few years, the people aren't drawing that same hard line anymore. They're willing and able to be flexible. And you're right about the Zoom. I mean, we've never met face to face. Clearly, we would have a better connection and have a better relationship if the first time was face to face. But because people are used to Zoom, we can connect. And I've met with people all over the world by Zoom, and I have great relationships with them because of the frequency. And it can be just so much more efficient, right? If you want to meet with I understand going to see the client's business, and maybe the first time you go over there, they're in Alpharetta. I mean, you're going for an hour meeting, it's going to take you 4 hours, round trip. You do that once, but every follow-up, you can do 3 of them in an afternoon, 3 follow-ups, and probably show information with more detail because you can share a screen and things like that. So,
right.
Yeah. So certainly I get to Zoom.
Yeah. Going to your first point, I'm an architect, so architects have the merger of art and engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to display to my clients, well, if I want to sketch something, that's hard to do on the computer. But if I'm face to face with them, we could make changes relatively easy, and I could do 3D sketches really quickly in person, rather than maybe trying to do that on the computer and explaining it in a little bit more detail and visual. So the clients will have that tactile exchange, which is just as important as well as the visual and the hearing. You've got to have the tactile. So that's important.
Absolutely. Well, you have to make it visible. There's a book I read, Selling the Invisible. Some of that too is because you're there, you can give them something tangible that they can take with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You draw something, they get a packet of the plans or whatever, even if they're rendered.
I could show them a board of brick, but that board of brick is going to look different on your screen than it will on somebody else's screen and on my screen. So
right.
Some of the materials you really have to see in person.
Right. Okay. So so Zoom and more flexibility on the design side.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any changes in decisions you wish you had made differently, if you could go back and do them again?
Well, I wish I had bought our property, our office building earlier, but we bought it about 2 years ago, and enjoy it. And we have the flexibility being in downtown Lawrenceville. I wish I had done this, maybe years earlier.
I hear that not just about building, but so many different decisions. Most major decisions, when I ask somebody about it, they say, I wish I had done it sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I hear, I wish I had done it sooner way more than I wish I had never done that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I all the time. I wish whatever it is, a practice, a new whatever it is, do it sooner. So yeah, that's a good one.
And it's funny, I hear that from my clients all the time. As soon as they move into their building, they said, "Oh man, my practice just shot up, and I wish I had done this sooner," because it just kind of launches their practice to a new dimension. And I hear that and I should have taken that advice myself.
Right. So people hesitate because of fear. We have we think fear is an acronym. I don't know if you've ever heard this. Fear stands for false expectations appearing real.
Mm-hmm.
It's what if this happens? What if that? It appears to be a real thing, and it's a false expectation because you don't know that that's what's going to be, for sure. So is there any?
That's key in hiring any professional, that they set those expectations for you, and that you're hiring a professional because he knows what he's doing. Like we go to a doctor because we know what they're doing.
Right.
And so that's important, to hire the right architect to do your project. So
I absolutely agree with that. Are there any changes you made that were temporary you think that are now up just a permanent part of your business model, or the way you function internally?
I can't think of any other than we'll probably keep some of the Zoom calls, just because
Right.
our clients' time is so valuable because of the discipline that they're in, that it's easier for them to meet with me in this format for a quick 10-minute session, rather than formally setting something up early in the morning or late at night or on the afternoons of their day off or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think Zoom's going away.
Yeah.
Really, I'm sure somebody's going to come up with a better way, because there's things about it that don't work. It's never going to go away. Just like snail mail is not going away.
Yeah.
So what's been your biggest learning about since you've been a business owner for 40 years now?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody's starting a new business as an architect, a lawyer, a doctor, any business, even if it's retail, what's the biggest thing you think that a business owner needs to know?
Having your networking community in place, because you can't do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
I rely on my engineers, they rely on me. Same with my clients. We're almost, I would say, close to 100% word of mouth, because of our longevity and our relationships and the success we make our clients, that they don't hesitate in referring people to me. So having a good networking base is key and critical in any business venture.
Okay. All right. Very good. I got some ideas that we can talk about offline. Actually, I've got two things that I've written down that we can talk about offline. I think may be of interest to you. And I was just talking to somebody in the car a little while ago, talking about networking and the value of networking, and not just. He's like, well, I went to this group. He's like, do you think I should be doing more networking? I'm like, well, that's two different questions. Yes, you should be doing networking, but I don't think that's the type of group for what you do. Mm-hmm. You've got to find the right circles and the right types of circles, or know what you can get out of each circle. You may not get a direct customer, but you may get a referral partner.
Right.
Two different things. Both valuable. They're just different. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, is there anything about your business that's going on? I ask this all the time, offers, opportunities, just something that's happening in your business that you want to make sure people know about Zanardo Architects.
Just that we've adapted to the new normal, and we don't know how long this normal is going to be in terms of, the product, the material chain supply, mechanical units, chips are in everything just about. So we've learned how to adapt and find other resources that do the same thing and make sure that we're flexible enough during the construction phase, because contractors are going through a very difficult time right now because they put a schedule together, and somewhere during that schedule, all of a sudden, one of their suppliers says, I can't get this now. So we have to be able to be flexible enough to jump in with the contractor and find those alternate solutions to solve the problem, with the ultimate goal of getting that building owner into his building just as soon as possible without causing, delay.
Right. And that goes in your last 2 points. Having a professional, right, and somebody who's doing networking. So if something comes up, that owner and that contractor have one more resource, such as yourself, who has a network that can help educate, so you can actually pivot faster because you've got more places to reach. Right. So more outlets. So that makes sense. So for the next 5-10 years, what's most inspiring or exciting for you looking forward for your business?
Boy, I would say so many more international, well-known architects and designers have come to the forefront and have come into the news, and they're just broadcasting that look at these fantastic designs. Now people are now starting to think, well, design is important, creativity is important, and so I think that's coming to people's minds more now so than before, because of the advent of the internet. You're a click away from seeing what Santiago Calatrava is doing in Florida or something like that, and so I have much more clients coming to me, and now they're looking at my design creativity as well as my expertise in what we have to do for their discipline. So we're advertising that on our website, showing the creative designs that we've come up with to help them, because a creative building, a beautifully designed building, believe it or not, is going to be valued more than a mundane building. I mean, the banks are recognizing that. And so people are attracted to it. They want to go to that. And it's just a better source. And I think clients are now starting to realize that more and more.
Yeah, the feel, the creative aspect and how a space makes you feel is people are more in tune with that, and they're going to value it.
Right.
Okay, that's excellent. All right. Well, Scott, thank you for your time. Thanks for sharing your lessons about your business and making sure people know about your business. I look forward to seeing more about the designs you do in the area and paying attention. Maybe I can figure out what your style is and say that's a Scott build. But I want to make sure we stay in touch. So thank you for meeting with us.
You're welcome. It was great. Good to meet you too.
Thank you.